All right, guys. Somebody sent me this video. And when I say somebody, I mean an onslaught of people sent me this video saying that they were very disturbed by what they had seen. And I felt like this was a good, accurate depiction of what we're going to watch. Now, I haven't watched it yet, so maybe I'm wrong. I don't know if I'll utterly despise it. But here's what I know. This looks like a VR furry telling us that they're coming out about things. It's gaining a lot of traction, and the likes and dislikes are off. Okay, they don't have a dog. That's what the comment says, that they don't have a dog or a mate. It's going to be very telling. Anyway, let's give it a watch. Before making judgments, please watch the first half of the video. Thanks. Okay, so we only have to watch half the video. Once we hit 18 minutes and 17 seconds, we can officially criticize and judge this video. We're going to do it from the start, though.
Hi everyone, you all know me as Sappho.
I don't know you at all.
I wanted to make a video about coming out. Coming out with anything can be very difficult, especially if it's something that society currently views with disgust or...
Now, my question, and I don't mean to be insensitive, is this a guy, a girl, or I guess I should be asking, are they not even their gender, or were they assigned male or female at birth? The only reason I'm asking is because there does seem to be a trend of people who identify as boys having this, like, feminine voice and doing weird e-girl stuff. And it's just a little uncomfortable.
Is a bit dangerous to even come out with the way that things are right now.
What does that mean? I feel like it's probably the least dangerous time to come out about anything, but it still can be very dangerous depending on what you're coming out about and what your environment looks like. Like, obviously, it's going to be very dangerous to come out as gay in Alabama. But I'm nitpicking.
And it's a lot like when homosexuals were coming out in the 1960s during Stonewall and those sorts of events.
Okay, didn't like the framing of that. What I do want to reinforce, though, again, is that there are still issues with... I feel like we're talking more about trans people, which is a good thing, but that has distracted us... Not distracted us, but that has caused us to forget that there are still gay people in the United States that have trouble coming out. And I think that it's something I want to make sure we are aware of, because I feel like we think we solved that problem. We solved the problem mostly in New York and California. You know what I mean? There's still areas where it's definitely not acceptable to come out, which is very unfortunate.
And I know that 99% of my viewers, my community, you don't have anything wrong with homosexuals or gay people.
I just feel like homosexual. I just say gay people. I just feel like we're LGBTQ or something. The word homosexuals, it sounds bigoted to me. I don't know.
You support them. You support LGBT. Nothing against them.
Okay.
But I guarantee that many of you, even if you can't imagine it now, if you were growing up in the 1960s and were being fed all of the news and social propaganda about how gay people should stay in the closet, how it's unnatural and against nature, and all sorts of...
I feel like this person's going to draw a comparison between whatever they're coming out about and homosexuality. And I think I know what it is. I don't want to get ahead of myself.
Crazy shit like that. A lot of you would probably be anti-gay, anti-LGBT. And that's just how it is. And I respect you all. And frankly, this sort of thing would have leaked out eventually.
Well, why?
Especially with how cancel culture is these days and
why would
other
it
furry drama.
I'm not trying to be that guy, but okay. So my thing with cancel culture is it usually, not being rude, doesn't apply to people with 1,000 followers. That's just me, but okay, let's just...
there would be people out there that, they want to have a gotcha moment. They want to build their fame and popularity and,
Okay.
expose people. And
True. That is true. I was part of kind of that TikTok. TikTok is the worst app, bro. Like there was times where I would do commentary on stuff, of course, but then there's times where I feel like I unintentionally engaged in the gotcha moments. So
I'm just not going to give the opportunity for a Sappho exposed kind of
yeah,
video.
well, we were all looking forward to a Sappho.
And
I was
would
just going through your channel like, what could I get this thing on?
rather suck the air out of the sails of the ransonas.
What is
And
a
instead of letting
ransonas?
this sort of thing build,
The furry thing?
just be open and honest about myself and
Okay.
my beliefs.
Okay.
And I want to clear the air and say that, for the record,
Okay.
I am a zoophile.
All right. Now I think I need to clarify what I'm pretty sure a zoophile is somebody who likes going to the zoo a lot. It's like a okay. It's not that. Well, they might be that. So a zoophile is somebody who is sexually attracted to animals. Okay. Listen, here. Well, listen. Okay, you don't choose what you're attracted to. Okay. So being attracted to animals is weird, but as long as you don't, do anything to the animals, I suppose, what am I? As long as you're not hurting an animal, gross. But hey, if you just want to get dressed in a furry outfit and fuck a dude or get fucked by a dude that dressed as a horse, hey, who am I? You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? The things that my wife and I do, we're gonna move on. Actually.
You did not mishear that.
Okay.
I am a zoophile.
I got a call.
I do not have a thing
It's the police calling me, asking me what the fuck's wrong with this person on the thing.
for humans. I am more attracted to dogs.
Sorry, I just need to back up.
German human. I am a zoophile.
Okay.
I do not have a thing for humans.
Okay.
I am more attracted to dogs like German shepherds.
Like or specifically German Shepherd dogs? That seems like not dogs like. It seems like you specifically like German Shepherds.
If you are willing to stay and listen to
I mean,
my
of
view
course.
and explanation, that is
Alright.
the point of this video.
All right, these are
It is
kind of
to
hot.
show that
Look at
there
that.
are ethical
Whoa.
guidelines.
Wow.
It's not so black and white. Like
What do you
many
mean? Hold on, let's pause. Ethical guidelines probably aren't ethical guidelines of fucking dogs. But look at how sexy this dog is, huh? Hey, maybe I could be a German Shepherd dog. Look at this guy, handsome boy. Handsome police dog. Oh my goodness. You know what? Maybe this is a child, though. That's not attractive. Also, get the crust out of you guys, you fucking mess. Hey, this is what we call the chonker. Chonky boy. Chonky boy. Let's see what else we got. This is a cute dog. Okay. Hey, look at this handsome fella. He's one in a... Okay, I'm downloading images. I have a virus on my computer now. I downloaded 2 pictures of this on accident. Hey, very nice award, sir. Very sexually attractive. All right, let's get back into this.
furries think that it is.
Hold on, so I think that I misheard and I saw the words ethical guidelines.
It is to show that there are ethical guidelines.
Okay, don't think so.
It's not so black and white like many furries think that it is.
I'm not I guess I'm a furry because I do think it's black and white. What's the one that's good? Almost caught me in a racism moment. Not good. Also, don't fuck dogs.
And a full explanation as to the way that I think and the
Okay.
way that others think and why.
Okay.
Zoophilia is often very misunderstood, especially because of certain very terrible people and what you may have seen in the news.
Uh-huh.
And someone that
I don't think we watch the same news.
will
But you know what? Everybody so far is being very critical. You guys, I've seen the weird TikToks of Judy Hopps from Zootopia. You fucking weirdos. There's millions of views on it where she's just like bent over, and I don't get it. It's actually very gross. I don't understand the attraction to fucking Zootopia, you weirdos.
not mention, if you remember that situation with the zoo sadism leaks a few years back.
No. What?
Unfortunately, when people think of
Did you like the leaks? Officer Judy Hopps. Okay, sorry.
zoophiles, especially furries, that's the person that comes to mind. That is the situation that comes to mind.
Listen, when I think of furries, I think of people who are socially outcasted just doing something that they enjoy, probably sexually. None of my business as long as it's consensual.
And I'm talking about horrible abuses.
Okay.
And I'm not accusing a certain individual of anything here, but those leaks showed some truly horrendous people doing awful things to puppies, dead animals, animal gore, and other atrocities
Okay.
that I really wish would have been prosecuted, but unfortunately most
Okay.
could not.
I like the framing
Either
of this.
by-
The framing of this is like, guys, we can all agree that fucking dead dogs is bad. So, but fucking live dogs, by contrast, not so bad. Oh, you convinced me.
Legal technicalities or so on. And it's a really sore thing for me because I would have liked to have seen justice in that case. I really would have liked to see that justice.
Okay.
But just because somebody was not charged or prosecuted does not mean that they were not guilty of what
I feel like
those
this is
videos
somewhat
showed,
irrelevant to the
and
video.
what those logs showed. And I will leave it at that. I couldn't imagine
I don't know who they're talking about. I'm not
Somebody-
looking it up. I'm not trying to see anything gross.
doing that sort of shit to
What is zoophilia?
my animals, my mate, my... Just, I can't imagine who would harm another living being in those ways. And to be 100% clear, I am not like that. Most of the zoo community is also not like that and utterly despises
Let's move this
it.
on along a little bit.
People who force animals
They say the zoo community. Okay. This person isn't just a zoophilic. They belong to a community of people like that.
into situations they don't want, physically. People who force animals into situations they don't want, physically and through other means,
Isn't that just having a pet forcing an animal into a scenario they don't want?
are completely deplorable and seen as rapists. Playing with an animal that is not sexually mature is like the equivalent of pedophilia, and it's treated as such. I do not support those people, and they do not deserve the same title.
I just feel like I don't think animals become sexually mature enough to fuck humans. Okay.
They're fetishists
My
and
God, I keep
bestialists. I do not want them to be the face of the community, and they should not be the face of the community.
I don't think that
It's-
you should either. This community shouldn't exist.
Like literal Nazis considering themselves furries in the fandom.
Okay.
You don't want them. We don't want them. We don't want that image to be what people think about. Ethical zoos are not like that. Zoophiles are among the most caring and loving people towards animals and their mates. We see animals
No, dude. Don't say that, bro. Dude. Why did you say it like that? You hear what they said?
caring and loving people towards animals and their mates.
They call the animals mates? Is that what this means? I do not own a dog or have a mate? Bro.
We see animals as equals to humans, not as property or an object.
All right, so open the door. If they run away, let's leave the door open.
In the eyes of the law and others.
If they want to run away, bloop.
Specifically, I and other ethical zoos follow what's called Zeta principles.
Oh.
Zeta being the Greek symbol, but also standing for zoophiles engagement, for tolerance. And
Is that what all these links are? Zoophile? This is zoophile stuff? These are the principles of zoophilia.
acceptance. So if you see that symbol on a fur,
Zeta means zoophiles for ethical treatment of animals.
that's probably
Bro, dude, what the fuck? Those principles were created in the 90s by American zoophile community. Of course, it's fucking Americans. Aim was to establish rules and a moral framework regarding the responsible treatment of our fellow animals. Over time, the Zeta principles found their way into Europe and have been adopted by the German community, in which they are deeply rooted today in common sense. Okay. When preparing to start an association of zoophiles back in the summer of 2009, the question came up, what should the name be given to this project? There were numerous proposals, and finally the idea won to literally put principles on the flag and choose the backronym of zoophile engagement. Oh my god, dude. Bestow upon animals the same kindness one would bestow upon themselves. Consider the well-being of an animal companion as important as one's own. I'm assuming the word companion means a mate. Place the animal's will and well-being ahead of one's desires for sexual gratification. Teach those who seek knowledge of zoophilia and bestiality without promoting it. Teach knowledge about it without promoting it. Bestiality and zoophilia are the same fucking thing. Discourage the practice of bestiality in the presence of fetish seekers. How? What? How do you not... Dude, how do you not... In a non-fetish way, fucking animal. Censure sexual exploitation of animals for the purpose of financial gain. Wouldn't that be no breeding with animals? Censure those who practice and promote sexual abuse. Okay, I feel like all of it's sexual abuse, but okay.
what they're referring to, or they're an ally towards that kind of cause. And those principles are: bestow upon animals the same kindness one would wish bestowed upon oneself.
I just read it!
Consider the well-being of an animal companion as important as one's own. Place the animal's will and well-being ahead of one's desires for sexual gratification. Teach those who seek knowledge.
I like how they're actually reading it in the VR world or whatever, because you can see their head spinning.
Zoophilia and bestiality without promoting it. Discourage the practice of bestiality in the presence of fetish seekers. Censor sexual exploitation of animals for the purpose of financial gain. And censor those who practice and promote animal sexual abuse. Zoophiles are not the same as bestialists and fetishists who do not follow those principles.
It's all the same.
I would see my partner or my mate as an equal to myself. Everything would be out of love, care, and affection for their wellness.
Bro, dude, what are you saying? Your fucking partner and your mate. I don't...
And well-being. It would not be to serve myself and my desires. And a lot of people have issues with this sort of thing, which is understandable. I can understand the point of view that others have about my views. The biggest argument, of course, that comes up is about consent and what is that like, right?
I don't think it's like... I don't think you can consent.
Like apples to oranges. They want to compare a grown, adult, sexually immature animal to like a toddler, basically. Comparing apples to oranges. And in my opinion, it's a bad faith argument. I don't think you can compare a sexually mature animal to a not sexually mature human.
Oh, animals don't have critical thought, so I don't think they can give consent. Okay.
I think it's bad faith. But back to the hypothetical.
I don't think that's bad faith.
And my view on it is that if my mate came up to me, loved me, and wanted something more in that moment, why would I deny them that need?
Because it's a dog, bro. It's a fucking dog, dude.
I want to care for their well-being and help them feel good. At the same time, if the animal is uncomfortable or walks away, that's a no. That's a do not continue. That's a I do not consent. I have a really close zoo friend that can explain
Let me ask you a question. Would you just leave the door open? Like, are you willing to just leave the door open? Because if we're really going to get into this, if we're actually going to engage with this argument, I'm going to assume that you don't meet a dog in their sexual maturity. You probably get a dog as a pet when they're a fucking baby, and then you basically... Listen, whether you like it or not, having a pet is basically just engaging in Stockholm Syndrome. You just force your pet to stay in your space. You don't let it out of the house unless it's on a leash. Like, you contain the animal. We treat animals like property. So I'm going to make a reasonable assumption that these people are adopting these animals when they're babies, and then they're... I mean, that would effectively be the same as grooming when it comes to waiting for them to become of age of sexual maturity to sleep with them and then put peanut butter on your fucking balls. That's what you're probably doing. So I really don't think that there's a scenario where this can be ethical in any capacity, because also they're dogs without critical thought.
more in a non-hypothetical way in the second half of this video. And this friend has a female German Shepherd mate and considers her to be the love of his life. And why am I like this? Well, we can speculate on that. I have always loved animals in this kind of way.
People probably just thought you were weird and never wanted to talk to you, so you developed an unhealthy obsession with animals.
Even back when I was 11, that would probably be the earliest that I remember, I always found comfort and love in animals. I would lie down with them for hours, sleep cuddled up with them, and never treat myself as any better. My 2 golden retrievers at the time were my place of safety and comfort. And no, I did not do anything sexual with them. It was something that later on I had always thought about, but I was so ashamed for so long about being the way that I am.
You should have probably maintained that shame. I mean, you would have been solid.
It caused a lot of mental pain and turmoil. And...
Don't care.
Yes. But recently, after discovering there's other people with similar feelings to me and ideals, it has inspired me enough to have this message.
Bro, this is the problem with the Industrial Revolution, okay? This is one of the problems with the internet, which is obviously what I do in my job. This person found people all across the world that like to fuck animals, and so they were able to feel validated in their desire to have sex with animals. And it's just like, if we didn't have the internet, then this would have never happened. This person would have just continuously felt shamed, and they wouldn't have bought German Shepherds as babies to groom them.
And that would include online resources like the Zooier Than Thou podcast and some other people that I've met through some internet forums.
What?
And
there's a
really
podcast. There's a podcast about having sex with animals. Do me a favor, guys. Stop for a second. Close your eyes. Okay, close your eyes, and think about something that you're passionate about. Something that you would sit down and you educate yourself on for long periods of time every single day. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be a video game. It could be religion. It could be a particular political ideology, right? So for me, it's like universal basic income. And so if you can't personalize it, do it for yourself. Look at the way I speak about topics I'm passionate about. Like, funny enough, consent is something I try to educate people on a lot. Now imagine the excitement that one gets, and not the excitement and the engagement and the additional levels of thought and how much they immerse themselves into topics, like for me, UBI, when they explain these things. And now imagine, open your eyes and realize that that person is doing that with fucking animals. They are legitimately super passionate. These are the people who, you know how your 6-year-old cousin will say, I love Pokemon, and they'll explain every Pokemon to you at the dinner table? That's what this person is doing. That's how much this person loves fucking animals. That's how invested in it they are. This is insane.
Is to educate people about what it means specifically to be a zoophile, and that there are shades of gray, not this black and white evil nonsense, comparing someone like me to a freak that forces themselves onto animals.
It's a very similar thing.
And commits horrendous animal abuse. This is to have a personal conversation.
Well, yeah, okay, so they're committing horrendous animal abuse. You're just creating regular animal abuse. Those things are still both bad, though.
With my community, furries, zoophiles, and others, and I am more than happy to answer questions or be interviewed in a neutral manner. With that out of the way, I'm going to switch to more of a podcast style video.
What does that
I'm
mean?
going to start recording, and cool.
Bro. 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 Okay. She just told us, this person just told us how much they were in love with German Shepherds. And so they decided to do that. Decided to put up a German Shepherd on the screen. This is what they're sexually attracted to. Right? That would be like if I made a podcast and I put something like this up on the screen the whole time. I made this like my background. Xena the Warrior Princess. So I like Xena the Warrior Princess. She's hot as fuck. I'm an old guy, so this is a throwback to the old days. But that would be just as weird as if I took this and like I did something weird, like I don't know, saved the image and then made it my desktop background or something weird like that. That would be bizarre as fuck. That's what they just did.
Oh, it's really good to have you here. It's good to be talking again. And
it's my honor to be your guest.
Awesome, cool. So this isn't going to be
Who are
like
you
a super
talking
formal
to?
thing, just more of a casual conversation for the people that might be curious watching the video. People that might be a little more curious about seeing somebody who is zoo exclusive.
What is
someone
that?
who themselves is a zoophile and practices it.
What that means, zoo
Where I would
exclusive?
consider myself a zoophile, but at the moment, that's not really something that I'm doing. So
Nice,
just for the
nice.
record, we are both zoophiles. And
I would have not said that on the record. Here's the Z for zoophile, by the way. I think that's supposed to be a zeta. Let's see.
You're my closest zoo friend and really helped me accept myself. In fact, you made a post on Zooville, and in that particular post, it was about you coming out about things, and you linked an episode of the Zooier Than Thou podcast about coming out, and that just really inspired me to make this video and to go forward with being more open about it. So, any comment on that?
Oh, I'm just really glad to hear that, and it's always a risk putting yourself out there and telling your story. And my hope has been to help others find acceptance so that they don't blunder through the seemingly endless darkness of denial and repression that so many of us have experienced. And it just makes me sad that some people will never see the end of that. And I'm overwhelmed with joy in your case that I was able to directly help you in that way.
Absolutely.
And yeah, it's exceeded my hopes for making that particular post.
Wow, incredible.
Absolutely. I went through a whole lot of mental pains, really, just refusing to accept who I was for the longest time. And I mean, I would go through some hard periods going through my teens where I would be really into it and know and accept myself like,
there we go.
Yes, I am a zoophile, but there weren't those kinds of reasons.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Fantastic. That's the new desktop background, honestly. I don't care. Just so you guys are aware. This is it. So I don't care. Okay.
Sources that really talked about it in an open way and really broke that perception that the mainstream has about zoophilia. So every time that I would kind of come around to it, I would feel so ashamed and alone that I would just lock all of that in and really just curl up into a ball, really. And I know that you kind of went through a similar experience coming out, and you also had a struggle to come to accepting yourself. Do you want to comment on that?
Yeah, well, I certainly relate to wanting to curl into a ball and just hide away from all the ugliness that the internet, that comes up on the internet when you search for any sort of these things.
You think that's better?
That's definitely been a big struggle of mine, having those feelings and those thoughts over the course of my whole life, and not having any person I felt like I could talk to about or would even beyond just understand and accept, but be able to actually relate to. And I struggled to find myself for many years and struggled with my identity as a result of that. And it sort of all fell into place when I just removed myself from society. I turned off my phone. I went and hiked up a mountain, and I just wrote it all.
I found a jaguar and I fucked it. Is that what happened?
Out and admitted it all to myself first. And I looked at it, my whole history with these feelings and these thoughts, and I just said, okay, I accept this. And
so, like, at what point did you go to therapy to try to change your behavior? You know what I mean? Like, it's like, hey, listen, if you said I am attracted to German Shepherds, but I go to a therapist to get over my attraction to German Shepherds, I'd say, okay, fair enough. I don't think that's happening.
And that was when my world changed. My mate came along not too long after that, and
Bro,
I
no.
found this community and found the
Dude, no. Dude, when they say the word mate, they mean that they found a dog to fuck. They found an animal to have sex with. That's what the word mate means, dude. Dude, bro.
Zooier Than Now podcast, and
Bro.
I'm not going to say that everything's perfect, that I feel 100% okay. It's still a daily work in progress, but it's so much easier to just be at a point where I'm okay.
You know, I think that there's the only way for you to be a true zoophile, is if if you went after wild animals, right? What people like animals that weren't created in an environment that effectively grooms them into liking people, because that's what we do even with animals, even with like our pets that we don't have sex with. Is we change their perception of the world basically. We even breed them to a point where they're more domesticatable. So the only true way to have consensual interactions with an animal is to do it with a wild animal that wasn't domesticated, wasn't bred to be subservient to humans, and wasn't raised in a household that would cause them to like humans. That's the only way I'll go, all right, fair enough. That's it. That's the only way I do it, is if you met a wild fucking bobcat and you were like, hey, because that thing would kill you if it wasn't attracted to you. You know what I'm? So it's like, okay, if they let you do it, I guess at that point it's got to be consensual, because that thing will just fucking murder you. You know? So, is that what you guys are doing? Or like an elephant? How would that even work? You know what? Let's just move on.
And I can look myself in the mirror and say it. I'm a zoo. And my partner is the love of my life, and I love her romantically, physically. That is okay.
Bro,
I think so too.
Dude, I think it makes it worse when it's like guys. Only because, it's one thing to get a dog to jump on you and hump you, which is obviously still wrong. It's another thing to put your winky in the animal's kitchen sinky, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's fucking disgusting. I'm just saying, dude. Bro.
And it's really amazing to hear how you overcame that struggle and came to that realization and
yeah, good words.
Came to accept yourself for who you are. And would you say that you've had to make some sacrifices along the way?
Certainly. Sacrifice, that might be a bit of a strong word, at least so far. There's been awkward moments where my mom in particular, as any good parent does, just wants to see their kid find someone, be happy. And, she set me up with someone to go on a date with. And, I liked her, but I didn't, but I had these mixed feelings, and I wanted to be polite, but I didn't, it was just, it was really awkward. And so that's what led me to finally come out.
Bro, I feel so bad for the mom. Like that, I could just imagine raising a kid for like 20 years. And then you find out that they are refusing to date people and want to fuck the animals. Like, holy shit, what a disappointment. Like, holy fuck. That's insane.
And say, look, I have someone and I'm happy. Yes, she has 4 legs, but just to hopefully avoid those kinds of things in the future where, someone else's feelings might be at stake.
Bro.
Yeah.
What?
And to really curb those perceptions, you see your mate as like the love of your life, yeah. And what do you both do together for like fun and play and?
No, I didn't even think of that part. This is making me actually sick to my stomach. What do you do for fun, bro? Like I've gone on walks with my dog and shit, and I'm like, I gotta walk this asshole because I want to go for a walk, But when this guy probably walks his dog, he's probably like, yes, oh my god, I'm making my partner so happy. Like I took my fiance out to dinner last night, and she was happy. She's like, I just want to take her out to dinner. That's the same feeling that this person gets when they walk them in the park.
What's that like? How does that work?
Well, I basically, spending time with her is my number one priority. And I wish I could, if I could, I would just spend 100% of my time with her. I'd never work because it's just so much fun. And so I take pleasure in simple things, a walk in the woods, I could do that all day. I love it. And she enjoys those things as well. And just, I try to spend at least a couple hours just being active outdoors with her every day. And I just take pleasure in watching her enjoy herself, even with if it's with another person or.
Dude, this person takes pleasure in. Do you take pleasure in watching your dog enjoy themselves?
Or with another dog, or with me, or by herself. So that's a bit of a snapshot of our daily routine. I'm fortunate to live in an area where exercising her is possible, and I've put myself in a position where I could give her what I imagine to be the best possible life for her that I could provide.
I mean, again, my question: do you leave the door open? Does the dog have the ability to leave the house when they want? Because you can't. You can't claim to have a consensual engagement with an animal when you lock the doors and don't let them out unless you're with them. That doesn't make any logical sense.
And 100% just clarifying for people, the vast...
No, I meant the house. That dog needs to be able to come and go freely. It needs to be a consensual space. All right? That's it. Well, it still wouldn't make it right, I would say. But still, like, we're not even setting up these things. If the dog can't leave the house on its own, the dog can't consent to any of it. Anything.
Majority of the time that you spend with your mate, it's not like sexual or sexualized. It's just being like a good couple doing normal things.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and it's too early in her life to do those sorts of things really to that full extent yet. So, you know, and that's another part of being zoo exclusive, is it's an individual adventure. It's not like we have all these role models around us.
What do you mean they're too early in their life? That literally just it's okay, dude. That's fucking weird. Okay, bro. This guy is like, yeah, I adopted a dog. I love it, but I can't fuck it yet because it's not age of consent. So I'm just gonna groom it until it's old enough to fuck the dog. What is wrong with you? This doesn't even make sense. This is worse. You know what? This is worse. This is somehow worse than people who just fuck dogs. That's already bad. But these guys don't just fuck dogs. They groom dogs and then fuck them. And then they pretend to love them. That's psychotic, bro. What happened to you?
This is what's right. This is what's wrong. There is obviously, you can tell consent, yes or no, if you can read basic body language, but it's still an individual adventure.
Dude, that is also something you really can't apply to the real life, because people reading body language is what leads to situations that aren't consentful between humans. People who think they can read body language.
And you get to know your partner.
Bro, this is literally like somebody adopting a child and waiting for them to hit age of consent before sleeping with them. Is that good? No. Okay, so we can acknowledge that this is just as, well, not just as bad because it's a dog, not a fucking person, but it's bad. It is similar in badness.
And you get to know yourself, and I'm still learning a lot.
That's very true. And yeah, so kind of going off on that leg about, you know, you can tell when they're consensual and such. A lot of people struggle with that because, you know, they don't understand how dogs mature and how zoophiles don't go after like puppies and small dogs and stuff. They just want to perceive us as like evil people who, you know, if we get...
I don't think you're evil. I think you're fucking dumb. I think that you're incredibly disturbed. But again, if you're adopting the animal when it's a baby, you are engaging in grooming of that dog. Now, I have friends who are dog groomers, but it means a different thing. Because they work at Petco.
Get close to their dog. Yeah, it's like, when we see your dog walking down the street, we're not thinking, oh, wow, I want to tap that. Like, that's not how it is. And
well, we can't speak for all of us.
Well, I can't speak for all zoophiles.
What the fuck? Hold on. What the fuck?
How it is. Like, when we see your dog walking down the street, we're not thinking, oh, wow, I want to tap that. Like, that's not how it is. And
well, we can't speak for all of us.
Well,
okay. Just digging yourself a hole, buddy. This girl was like, yeah, I don't see animals and want to fuck them. And this guy's, I do that all the time. I do that all the time.
I can't speak for all zoophiles, yeah, but I know for me, it's definitely like that. And it's, you know, if you're going to be with a dog that is not sexually mature, which is at least like a year and a half, 2 years old for a lot of breeds, it's like a lot of us consider that like...
What's interesting though, and so I was looking into this podcast, and I was looking through it, and I was trying to figure out who are these people. And so I found the guy who's on the other line. I found the guy who, I'm not even kidding, I found his Facebook. Listen, I'm just going to preface this and say, don't send any hate to this person. Okay, this is I found it. It's linked to everything, so it's okay. But don't send hate because that would be wildly inappropriate. Okay. Oh, Jesus. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh. Listen, my hearing is going out. I almost couldn't keep a straight face through that one. Woo. Oh, man, that was funny. That was funny. I'm sorry. Okay. Let's get back into this.
Pedophilia.
What the
if
fuck?
You're doing like intercourse and such.
I thought dogs were like a human year was like seven. A dog year is 7 human years or something. So wouldn't a 2-year-old be 14?
That's just how it is. Like,
by the way, that's actually a reasonable point. I don't know why I'm examining this, but sexual maturity, I don't really know when a human goes through sexual maturity or they start going through it, but it's probably when they're going through puberty is probably the start of sexual maturity. But we acknowledge that just because you're going through sexual maturity doesn't mean that you're somebody that we should be having sex with as adults. We differentiate adults and children because you haven't reached the peak of your sexual maturity. So I'm assuming that animals at 2 are like the same as humans at like fucking 12. So you shouldn't be sleeping with 2-year-old. Why am I doing this? You shouldn't be fucking any dog. What am I? I'm actually overanalyzing this.
I really want to clarify that for the people watching this video that, there are ethical guidelines that people follow.
Ethical is subjective, by the way, because there is no ethical guideline to fuck a dog.
Right, absolutely. I mean, it is primarily about having that emotional bond, and that's what I've learned through having at least one really meaningful, non-sexual, romantic attraction to another dog who's belonged to a friend of mine, and that's what really taught me who I am. I would say, was that I could find that love and that bond without the physical aspect of sex.
And another thing to note, also going along with that kind of romantic but not sexual relationship that you had with your friend's dog. I just want to clarify and really help people understand that this isn't about one's personal desires for sexual gratification or anything like that.
It is. It is. You're saying it's not. Maybe to you it's not, but for everybody else, it's totally about just fucking dogs. It really is what it's about. Because if it wasn't about fucking dogs, you know what you could do? Just not fuck the dog. What a hot take! You would just have a pet that you wouldn't have sex with, and then you would fuck a person. That's the difference. That's all it would take. You would be normal. It's 100% about fucking dogs. It's 100% about sexual gratification. Shut the fuck up. What are you, in an asexual relationship with a dog? No. You shouldn't even be allowed to have dogs. We should create towns, segregated towns, okay, for people that like dogs and other animals to live in that had no animals in it. No dogs, no cats, no horses, no birds, nothing. It would just be an animal of humans that you couldn't leave so that you wouldn't fuck my dog. My mother's dog. I moved out a while ago, but I still consider it partially my dog. That's what we need to do, is segregation. And then if you say that's not fair, that you're not letting us leave, my retort would be, well, you treat humans that you say that you think humans and animals are equal, and yet you don't leave your front door open for your mate to leave the house. So this logically is the same thing. Because you're saying that it's okay for you to be penned up. Boom. Mind explosion. Fuck you.
But it's pretty much purely about caring about the well-being of your mate, of the animals that you love, and it's not about controlling them or forcing them to do sexual acts.
It is.
Right. It's the beauty. A true zoo will know it's the beauty of that mutual bond that you find with one another when you're able to communicate on a two-way street.
Exactly. And there's going to be a whole bunch of resources in the description for people who are interested and really want to dig in and kind of understand this stuff. But uh, even like professional dog trainers, they'll masturbate their dogs during training.
Oh, stop.
Because it
Is
helps
that
them
right?
yeah, it is, because it helps them with stress release and feeling better, and it's used as a training tool. And what's amazing is that, with this consensual stuff with a sexually mature animal, people will be all up in arms about that, but they're not against these like breeding. I don't know what you'd call them. They're like facilities where they breed dogs, basically, where they forcefully take semen out of one dog and then forcefully inject it into another, and it's like, how is that
Yeah.
okay?
Bro, dude, you know what? I think that some people think the breeding animals is kind of fucked up, especially when you make it force them. But I feel like we're having the conversation that we should try to get rid of animal breeding because it can be oppressive to animals is not the same as piggybacking that to fuck animals. You know what I'm saying? Like that's two different things.
And it's because people view animals as property. They're not viewing them as another living being that deserves the same rights. And that's what really gets me about this.
Yeah, that's a good question. Somebody said, why does it end with phile and not sexual? If they're trying to normalize it, wouldn't they call it sexual? That's actually a good point. Or you'd be like a zoosexual, not a zoophile. Because what is it, pedophile, ebephile? The philes are usually bad, right? They're all bad. So why would you call yourself something with the suffix of phile that would make it bad?
This whole thing.
Look up the
So,
suffix.
Right.
yeah.
And that's a huge debate in and of itself. That what artificial insemination and what you mentioned, and we we could jump down any number of rabbit holes.
For sure. And now you had that post about coming out. Do you want to mention exactly how you came out or who you came out to?
Phile is a definition combining lover of, enthusiast for the specific. Okay.
Yes. So I take it coming out as like anything where you have to convey an idea and do it in a thoughtful way that's respectful to, in my case, me and my partner, but also my audience, who in this case was my mom. And I thought a lot about terminology I could use, and
Yo, I would have,
potentially
if I was your dad, I'd beat the fuck out of you, bro. Just telling you.
getting asked questions and how I was going to handle that. And essentially, I used the word attraction. I didn't use the word sex or anything like that. I just said I'm attracted to. In this case, I said other species. I left it very wide open.
Mm-hmm.
And she didn't. My mom's awesome. She didn't pry me, say, "Oh, are you screwing your dog? Are you screwing my horses?" Blah blah blah.
Dude, come on. They live on a farm?
She was just like, "Okay, thank you for telling me. I'm glad that you found someone who you're happy with."
Oh, that's a bad mom, bro. Your mom's bad. Your mom was like, "Oh yeah, I fucked the horses too." That's
And I'm glad this worked out. And that's all I wanted for you, is to find someone and be happy. But then she also said, I'm worried about the fact that your partner isn't going to live as long as you, and seeing you fall apart when she's gone.
And then this guy would be like, "Oh, I'm happy about it. Then I get to fuck all more dogs. I get to have lots of sex with dogs. I love it. I can't wait for my dog to get old and die."
And that's a large part of the pain of this orientation, is that many species don't live but a fifth of our lives. But I've come out to a couple of my friends, I want to say at least 5 other people, and I've never once had a bad experience with that. And that's not to say it's 100% safe.
Dude, that's incredible. Every person that you came out to, you didn't have a bad experience. That's insane. Where do you live where people are like, "Dude, that's totally fine that you have sex with dogs"? What the fuck?
You got to know your audience, and you got to choose your words wisely.
Absolutely.
Oh, so you got to lie to people. Hey, yeah, I kind of like dogs a lot. Oh, okay. Is that what you're telling them?
And what's great is that now we have these resources like the Zooier Than Thou podcast that people can watch and really understand these kinds of nuances about what it means to be a zoophile, and how it's not about the fetishists and the people that are bestialists, where those sorts of things are very antithetical to how we think about our orientation. And what gets me too is that people treating animals as property and objects, like
You're
they're
doing.
stuffed toys, basically. And it's like,
You do that too. You're doing that
I would
as well.
say that addressing their sexual needs helps them relax, lowers their aggression, and overall helps them feel better. And
Dude, if you applied this to a person, this is fucked up. Like, yeah, it's okay that I'm assaulting this animal because it helps them relax. Isn't that what Chris Chan said about their mother after they took advantage of their dementia-addled mother?
And I'm not saying somebody putting themselves onto the animal, because 99% of the time, the animal is the one that's initiating that kind of contact. Like, a lot of people might be familiar with like a dog humping their leg, for instance. That dog sees you as a member of the pack or the herd, and that's how they see things. And they're the one that's kind of initiating the action.
Dude,
And overall, it helps them with their.
bro, dude, so you've groomed the animal into only having you to fuck. Put a female dog in the room or a male dog, depending on the animal, and I guarantee you that they'll choose to fuck that animal instead of you. So, yeah.
Wellness and their well-being. So I just wanted to make a quick note of that. Part of something that I'm reading from the resources section.
Right. Yeah, and it's excellent to have all these resources.
Well, you know, my 12-year-old niece initiated with me, so it was okay that I went for it. It's kind of the same energy, bro. It's fucked up.
Is available nowadays, and I'd encourage anyone who's considering coming out to be prepared to answer questions, help people understand.
Yeah, but
You know,
also,
and yeah, cite examples like this is super helpful.
yeah, and we're not promoting it. We're not trying to force people to be a part of it or anything like that. We're just explaining our orientation and what it means really to be a zoophile. And I think that's what's really beautiful about this conversation that we're having.
Yeah, I'm honored once again to be here and be able to talk about these things openly. I never thought I'd see the day where I could feel comfortable doing this. And
I wish we never got to that point. I wish we never saw the day. This is terrible.
I hope it helps others of you out there,
I hope
be
so
it
too.
whether you have the same sorts of feelings as us or you're just trying to learn more
Yeah,
about
and
who we are.
I hope that we have more of a positive kind of response to this video. I know that there's going to be quite a shitstorm, probably caused by me publishing this sort of thing very publicly, but I do hope that people will understand, and maybe they're more neutral. They don't want to burn me on a stake, but they also maybe don't fully accept kind of my views. Yeah, and that's totally fine. When it comes to the laws and legal and all of that, I really think that people should consider whether or not the animal enjoyed the interaction, not just the black and white of
the black and white of like grooming the animal, getting them at a young age, locking them in a house, not letting them out unless you go out with them, not providing access to other animals in the area for that animal to choose over you. You know, those kind of things.
Deciding for that animal that it didn't enjoy it de facto because I said so and that sort of thing. Like, that's kind of my view on that. And that
yeah, you have a terrible view on these things.
We can't necessarily judge people's morals just from one single thing that they're into or one aspect of themselves, you know. And that's why this might be hard for a lot of people, because they're going to see, you know, they know me. They know I'm affectionate and loving and really help people, and then they see,
this guy's breathing hard as fuck, you notice?
Oh, they're also a zoophile. And I really hope that people don't completely judge my morality off of that single aspect of myself.
Not completely. I just think I would never be your friend. I think you're fucking weird. And what you're doing is fucked up.
And I hope they don't judge you either.
I hope so too, but like you, I'm prepared for it.
Absolutely.
It's an eventuality that we've incurred potentially.
Yeah, I'd probably steal your
risks
dogs.
Must be taken, I believe, in order to help others. And I'm glad I took the risk that resulted in helping you out, get to where you are here today.
Thank you.
And I wouldn't take it back for any negative comment.
Well, it was good having you here, and I'm sure that this has answered a lot of people's questions, gave a little bit more insight on the conversation, and maybe fulfilled those cravings for some people for more information about somebody who actually practices zoophilia and has a mate. So yeah,
thank you so much for having me.
That was terrible. So here's a really good title for this video. I'm a dog groomer. That's it. I'm a dog. What's the good title? I'm a dog groomer. Or something like that. I gotta figure out a good title. Anyway, that was terrible. That was fucking insane. I can't believe people like that exist. I gotta go pee real quick. I'll be right back. Then we'll do more content. There's Xena the Warrior Princess. So fuck you.